What's up, everyone? Welcome to the ShockCast, episode 22. How you doing? And happy early Halloween for those who celebrate. Joining me
When
today,
the
we
hell
got
is Halloween?
Halloween. It's in 5 days, so
Oh, really?
yeah,
Well, I didn't know.
good to know.
Hello.
Joining us is clearly Giuseppe here today,
Clearly.
cleanly
Hello, I'm
shaven.
clearly Giuseppe.
Yes,
So, yeah, cleanly sure that because that's a very clean shave.
people are
Anyway,
missing
hello,
out.
everyone.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on audio, you're missing out. He's got beautiful shape going on. Other than that, if you've been following our Twitter feed today, you know that this is the battle of the century. We're talking Nintendo Switch today. I'm, of course, a Nintendo
You mean
fanboy.
that this is the beatdown of the century?
I'm talking Nintendo Switch today. I'm the resident DualShockers fanboy, at least as much as we have someone on DualShockers. And Giuseppe's Giuseppe, so clearly a lover of all things Nintendo.
No, actually, I was very, very excited to see the reveal myself.
Oh, good. We
Problem
will
is
get
that
into
the
it.
excitement turned into something else after the reveal, but we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead.
Sure thing. So, anyway, welcome again to the Shockcast. Let me just start off with the intro bit. If you may know, we record this every Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, and what is that Pacific? 5:30 Pacific. We try to do giveaways every week.
Yes.
This week we are giving out Shu and Vev as well for anyone who wants it in the chat. I believe, at least for Vev's case. For Shu, we might pick one person. And yeah, so let's go straight into what we normally have been doing. What have you been playing, Giuseppe?
Well, I have been playing a lot of Battlefield 1 for my review, which should come very, very soon. We're a little late, but it's a quite deep game, surprisingly so. Well, the story is not very long, but the multiplayer is very, very deep. Especially the new operations, they're good and they're deep. So it took me a little while. We'll talk about review a little bit later because of some things that happened, but you know that we like to take our times here in DualShockers. When we can make it by embargo, that's fine. When we can't, we can't, and we'll take our time. We won't rush. So Battlefield 1, yes, I've been playing Civilization 6 too, which also will see a review in the near future. That one is going to take a little longer because it's a very long game. I've been sleeping very, very little because, one more turn, one more turn, one more turn, and then it's 9 a.m. And then that's pretty much it for this period. I'm actually going to start Titanfall 2 really soon. Downloading it right now.
Awesome. Myself, I've been playing a lot of World of Final Fantasy. We just put the review up if you're listening to this now.
You're obviously not qualified to review it.
According to a commenter or two, they're very upset I gave it the great score of an 8.0. But really, the game's great. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, and if you like the style of Kingdom Hearts,
and if you're okay with playing with it in Japanese, or you're okay with memes, like wild memes.
Yeah, and for
if you played
poor humor, linear story. But besides that, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, this is a slam dunk choice for you. Go pick up the game right now. If you're not a Final Fantasy fan, it's also just a great game. I highly recommend it. Probably personally one of my favorite games this fall. So take that as you will. I'm not qualified to review it, so whatever.
Well, I am, and I tell you it's a good.
Besides that fact, I'm starting back into PlayStation VR. We're going to go into the second round of launch reviews, launch window reviews. So we're going to start talking cat lateral damage, Sports Bar VR, Volume, Rise of the Tomb Raiders VR version, maybe, if it's substantive enough. And hopefully Skyrim very soon. Everyone's heard the announcement by now, so we're likely getting it tomorrow. So don't.
Well, I'm going to play it too myself. He's going to review it.
Oh.
I'm going to play it because
Right.
because we're both getting it for free anyway on PC because of the little perk that the Bethesda very nicely gave us to everyone that has PC version and bought the DLC. If you don't know this, just go check your Steam library the day after tomorrow because you'll find the Skyrim specialization there for you, and that's great. That's actually a very good thing. I'm sorry for the one that got it on PS3. Well, I'm sorry for the one that got it on PS3, period. because that was a really bad version.
Yes.
But I'm sorry for the one that got it on consoles because they don't get it for free, of course.
Right.
But anyway, we're both going to play it. If the modding community embraces it, I think I'm going to sink a lot of game time on that again.
Yeah, and I'm looking to dive back into it because even though I do have it on PC, I originally bought it on PS3. I was mainly a PlayStation 3 gamer. So I had a great 40 hours before my character started just chugging at like 2 frames a second. So that was fun. Besides that, yeah, I think we are getting towards the latter end of launch season, so that is good. Things will start slowing down.
Yeah, a little bit. All right.
We'll
Well,
start
there is
getting
still
into...
Call of Duty coming.
Yeah, we got Call of Duty. I mean, you can't say launch season's over until Call of Duty's out. But
I got all the shooters this year. I'm so bad at shooters, but I like them.
we have video evidence of
I,
you being really bad at shooters, so I'm not...
But I am better with the mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
Like, if you give me a mouse and keyboard, I'm better. In fact, Battlefield 1, they gave us a PS4 copy, and so I chug a little bit when I have to be precise with aiming. In fact, I'm a very big mortar user. With a mortar, you don't really need to aim.
Right.
But yeah, like if luckily Titanfall 2 was I have it on PC, yay, I can use my mouse.
Right. So yeah, we got that. We got Final Fantasy. We got a few major releases coming out, but for the most part,
we are 32 days from Final Fantasy 15. Oh my God, it's real, it's coming.
I'm fairly certain Giuseppe has like a whiteboard calendar, and every day he just wipes it off. It's been the best month.
I actually have a little altar in front of my my bed. Every morning I pray in front of it.
Absolutely. All right, so let's launch straight into the topic of the show, Nintendo Switch. We got the reveal finally, and we revealed the reveal announcement last podcast. It happened exactly as we started streaming. Literally exactly. We had Giuseppe writing the news while we were streaming.
So let's put rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement. Go for it. What are we doing?
Okay, you say your pros and your cons. I say my pro and my cons, and then we're discussing. And since I'm nice, you get to decide who goes first.
I'm gonna let you go first, but I want to start with a small disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm gonna be playing Nintendo Defense Force here. I am as my disclaimer. I do love my 3DS. I do love my Nintendo consoles. I hardly touch them anymore. I'm not disillusioned to the troubles Nintendo is having as a console manufacturer and as a partner.
Delusional.
Did I say disillusioned?
Yes.
That should be work. That works as fine. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but delusional works better, I think.
All right, so I'm not completely delusional when it comes to this. But yeah, you will hear me playing.
Okay, I can go first.
Go for it.
All right, I can go first. So first of all, I'm gonna do a little bit of an introduction to the thing. I think you all saw the little ad they put out, and they didn't really say much more than that. So the pros and the cons are very simple. The pros is that it's a very nice and interesting concept, like a console that you can like pick up and bring out. It's a cool concept. It's a very interesting and exciting concept, and I definitely look forward to that kind of idea. I've been looking forward to it for a while. Kind of the PS Vita and the PS4 thing was kind of there, but it wasn't really as seamless or as nice as I would like it. I would literally like to take my home games and bring them out, and that's what the Switch does. And that's pretty much the only pro there is. And then we come to the cons. The cons are mostly how Nintendo, because we really don't know much about the console, so we can't really say big pros and cons before knowing more. The cons are in how Nintendo is communicating it and doing stuff about it. Because first of all, let's look at it from a commercial standpoint. I'm actually going to ask you, Lou, since you are a fanboy.
Yes.
Well, a fan. No, not a fanboy. You're kind of rational.
I came from my
Uh,
Nintendo news, so that should speak volumes.
yeah, but you're still kind of rational. Um, so okay, when you saw the commercial of the Nintendo, we know that Nintendo said it is primarily a home console, and that's what Nintendo says. When you saw that commercial, that introduction video, what did you think? Did you think that that was a home console, or did you think that was a portable console that happened to be attached to the TV?
I thought it was a portable console. I
Me
thought,
too, because that's the part of the concept that strikes the most. Like the
yes,
whole concept sells on the fact that you can bring it outside. So obviously everyone is going to perceive it as a portable console. The problem is that portable console have a price range that people are going to find acceptable or not. And
right.
I personally doubt that Nintendo is going to be able to sell it. Today they sold it. They're not. They say that they're not going to sell it at a loss. I personally, honestly, I can see that there is quite a bit of technology going on there. Even if maybe the power inside the console isn't that big, like the rumors are that it's like a little less power than Xbox One. Uh, Fact is that miniaturization has a cost, and
Yep.
there is a lot of miniaturization going on there. So I personally doubt, and there, on top of miniaturization, there are various elements: the dock, the little pads, all that comes together, and they need to be seamless. They need to work well, and there's a lot of technology. I'm actually very in admiration of the technological part of it, because if it works, because the trailer was a little bit of a smoke and mirrors. Like there was a lot of stuff that wasn't actually working. There was a lot of mock-ups going on.
Right.
I actually noticed that in a picture, like in the switch between the scenes, the 3D model they used to simulate the dock that didn't actually exist actually glitched, and you see the 3D model glitching in one frame. If you
Right.
look at the I think it's the last when there is the girl that plays, and in the moment in which she pulls out the switch from dock, in that moment in which the scene changed, the first frame you'll see that the base is glitched. But anyway, that's if it works, and I think it worked because they wouldn't market a concept that they don't think it works. Uh, the problem is that it will minimum for me. I don't think it's gonna cost less than $300, and that is not something that's many people that are into portable gaming are going to accept.
Right.
That's a home console price.
Yes.
And the problem is that I don't know how Nintendo. One, I don't think Nintendo, whatever they say, they can manage to persuade people uh, that they're going that this is primarily a home console. One, because of the concept, and two, because it's underpowered. If it is underpowered, but basically all the rumors have a little bit of credency, say that it's less powerful than Xbox One. So that simply is not what people will perceive a home console. That's not the home console price. And selling a home console at the price of a portable, sorry, selling what people will perceive as a home console as a pricing of a home console, it will not work. Uh, Two, there is another problem, and there is not. I don't think there is anything Nintendo can do to change that perception that this is a portable console. No matter how much they say that it's a home console, that they simply can't, because the concept is so integrated in the fact that you can pick it up and bring it out that people are perceiving only that part. If you look at the trailer, there is no way that you're going to say more than meh at the home part.
Hmm.
Like we have seen it a million times, and better with better graphics. So the home portable experience is there, but it's basically like you could attach a PS Vita to the TV. Better graphic, of course, but that's what you could do, or you could attach it for ES to the TV. So that's the problem. Pricing, it's probably gonna be off. Battery life, we have to see how it is, because I have no idea how we can power the kind of screen with a good battery life
Right.
without a big battery.
I don't know if you saw it, but great picture online, and I've seen it before. It's just a triangle, and it says
Hmm.
power, battery, price, and it just says pick two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The problem is that I have no idea what kind of technology they can use. Maybe they'll use Samsung technology.
Yeah,
Maybe it explode too.
that probably would have
But
them
no,
shaking.
yeah, no. The problem is that I don't know how it's possible. Like the PS Vita has a screen that probably requires less power than that,
Hmm.
and the battery life is already pretty bad.
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
So
I don't know if OLED takes up more power. At least OLED for my PS Vita.
no, no, I'm talking. Also talking about the LED PS Vita, but we
Right.
don't really know what kind of screen the Switch will have
Besides
anyway.
HD, so
Besides HD, yes, we don't really know what kind of technology is going to use. We don't know much. We know it's gonna be. Well, I actually measured it. You probably saw my article with the measurements, and it's going to be a 6.2 inches screen. I'm
okay.
pretty confident that because the measurements matched with the rumors, so that's pretty much almost in the bag.
Right.
The problem is going to be power,
Yeah.
because in that kind of console, the screen is what takes the most power. Even if you put like a lot of like if you put a very underpowered processor in it, which won't take um, much power, because of course um, if you put like a smaller processor in it, of course it's going to take not much power. And it seems that the dock does not add anything in terms of power, from what Nintendo say. And because it would be difficult to achieve, honestly,
Though
technologically,
it might possibly, and this is what's been rumored at
upscale.
least, well, upscale, but it also might, just because you're connected to the battery source or the charging source, it might provide cooling itself. So it might help graphics, not necessarily boost the power, but put less strain on the graphics card with the battery in
And
there.
possibly what I can see, which is probably a variation of what you say, is that it could like a laptop. When you have a laptop, you can run it in battery mode, or you can run it in performance mode. And the performance mode takes more energy mostly. I don't think cooling is going to be a problem, because that's a Tegra, that's a cell phone processor. So it's really not much of a problem of cooling, but you can run it at top performance with when it's attached to the power source and to the power outlet. So battery life is not a problem, and you can run it at lower performance when it's not attached.
Hmm.
So you're actually saving a little bit of battery. But it's not like the base as something that makes it more powerful, but
No, no.
simply it lets you use all the power that it's inside the chip. Um, and that's something it's an incognito. But the biggest problem for me is that Nintendo is not communicating anything about price and and specs until next year. That's a that's a big. I don't know what could be the reasons behind that, besides lack of confidence. Because honestly, uh, what other console we didn't know the price or the specs of it until 3 months before release, and less than 3 months probably, because it's going to be January, February, and a bit of March. We don't know when it's going to launch in March.
Right. Though they
So
are
that's
expecting to sell 2 million by the end of that fiscal quarter.
2 million is worldwide isn't that big
No,
if you
it's
think
not.
about.
Though they are
So
limited stock as well, they're continuing with their strategy, which did not really. I mean, it kind of worked for the Wii U for the first week, and it
mhm.
worked for Amiibo for the first year. But yeah, so we'll see.
I
Um,
honestly don't see it getting to 2 millions. My honest thing, I don't see it getting to 2 millions unless a miracle happens.
right. Well, unless they come out and they announce great things for specs, great things for price, great things for battery.
Yeah,
Um,
if they sell it at $150, yes, it's gonna sell to 2 million.
all right, I'm gonna read.
It's your turn after you read.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna read Dalo's
For now, I'm
comments. Dalo, of course, our faithful commenter over in the Twitch chat, says, I am happy the NS, the Nintendo Switch, is what it is. It is basically Sega Nomad. My main thing is how the third party stuff is going to look. The main reason I game on PS4 is that they get a lot of weird Japanese games. Plus, I prefer Japan studios. Let's see. He says
Japanese games are not gonna be a problem
the
because
question.
they're
Yeah,
not really graphically heavy thing, you know. So I think it's probably possibly going to have a lot of Japanese third-party games, possibly depending on adoption, of course, but
right.
possibly gonna have some. Yeah, definitely. I don't see the problem there. But those third-party games are probably going to be on PS Vita and on PS4 as well. So whatever your choice is, you're probably going to be able to have them. I doubt. I've seen someone misinterpret a comment from Takashi Mochizuki from Wall Street Journal and say that a third-party studio was moving its games from PS4 to Switch, and everyone thought it was like not making them for PS4 anymore, making them on Switch, which is ridiculously bonkers.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It just meant porting,
Yes.
obviously. So I think a lot of Japanese developers are possibly, at least for the beginning, if the unless the console is successful in the long run, they're possibly going to go Switch, PS4, and PS Vita, since the Switch is possibly going to be in the middle between PS4 and PS Vita in power-wise.
Right. All right. So moving on, he also says he's questioning whether it's going to be $60, $40 games with the, depending on how it is.
Probably gonna third party is going to be pricing their games normally. They're not going to change the pricing for anyone. And I don't think Nintendo's gonna price less because they're full games. Why would they price the games less?
Unless,
like I don't see.
Right. My one thing is now that we have Nintendo as a unified system where it's getting the 3DS titles and the Wii U titles. Will they have two different prices? Will they come out with games that are more handheld focused? That will be at the $40 price tag, maybe like ports of Vita games, kind of.
So. I don't think so, honestly. But we'll see. I don't think so. I think they're going to go with full games. I don't think it's going to run 3DS games. 3DS is going to stay its own thing. And honestly, I think the only smart move I saw Nintendo made here is that they are still keeping supporting 3DS. Because personally, I can see the 3DS staying more successful than the Switch.
Oh yeah, I don't
on the long run.
I don't have any doubt in that. The 3DS is priced better. It still was on the cusp of when handhelds were relevant, and they're increasingly becoming less relevant to a larger base audience. Of course, to the core audience who loves their PlayStation.
It's cheap.
Vita and 3DS.
It's cheap and it runs the games. And people that want to play that kind of games don't care about graphics.
Right. Exactly. All right. So let me get to my list of pros and cons.
Okay. Go ahead. It's your turn.
Sure. Pros. I like that they're re-engaging the core Nintendo audience. And at this point, the core Nintendo audience are...
millennials?
Yeah, 25, 30, 40-year-old guys who grew up with Nintendo, who have the disposable incomes.
That's not millennials.
Oh, it's kind of millennials. I consider myself a millennial.
Really? You're
25.
fired.
What do you think I am?
You're not the millennial. Millennial is people that are born after 2000.
Oh, I thought it was people who grew up through... Okay, never mind. Anyway, I like that they're re-engaging the core audience. In the trailer, you didn't see anyone who looked under 25 to begin with. You didn't see any families. You didn't see Japanese people coming to families' doorsteps and saying they would like to play. I enjoy that.
They were still smiling a lot, though.
They were still smiling a lot. You got to look like you're having a fun time. But I like the fact that they have realized that Blue Ocean did not pan out for them. And they're retargeting who they think is going to spend the money on the console, and I think they're correct with it. Number two, I like the concept. The concept is actually one that would make me purchase a second copy of a game, if that makes sense. Like, I am getting Skyrim. I have Skyrim on the PC. I'm getting Skyrim for the PlayStation 4. If I could take it portable, and I could play it at work, on my breaks. If I can play it on vacation, whenever I'm going on these long trips, whenever I'm going on a press tour, I want that. That is a reason for me. It's not going to be my main console, but they're positioning it well to be a companion console, and I think that's a marketing strategy that they should play to. A lot of people do have Xboxes and PlayStation 4s, but it makes more sense almost to have Nintendo and one of
3DS.
the 3DS or a Nintendo console and one of those two, because Nintendo
Actually, it makes more sense to have a 3DS. Sorry, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Well, I'm not kidding, but go ahead.
at the moment. Um, yeah, I think that it was, that the hype was there. I think that the name, while it's not sexy, absolutely not sexy. I heard Nintendo
It's sexy.
Switch.
Yeah, it's sexy.
You think
It's actually a sexual name.
you think so?
You're dominant, you're submissive, or you're a switch.
That that said, it doesn't have the flash of PlayStation, Xbox. It's the Nintendo Switch. I kind of groaned a little bit when I saw it. It is very easily explainable. I think one of the main issues to, selling Wii U was, of course, they had Wii. People had no idea what a Wii
I
U
think that's an
was.
excuse.
If it was an app.
There was absolutely nothing wrong in the Wii U's name. The problem was that it didn't have games.
That too. There's a lot of things. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm saying it was a factor, and it's easy enough to tell the people walking into GameStop, walking into Walmart, walking into Target, what the Switch is. What its key component is. It switches between this and this. It's not going to be easily confused. And I like that they have the list, and of course, heavy speculation on how they'll continue to support, but I like that they had that expansive list of third-party publishers. And
Is it expensive?
I think for Nintendo, it's expensive. Not
Okay,
not
because
clearly not for anything else.
The Xbox One has had more developers on their list in Japan.
Right, and I'm not, and of course they said that this is a sampling. It's not the full realm.
Yeah, the Microsoft said that as well.
Right, it's not the full realm of developers. I just like the fact that they've been able to get EA and Ubisoft to reconfirm that they're going to continue working with the Switch. I think that I actually personally thought it was going to be a commitment they would shy away from, given how much of a travesty it was. I'd say, it was kind of a little bit of a PR nightmare to constantly cancel games for the Wii U. I think there was an uproar. Maybe not a huge uproar, but definitely a minor uproar about Rayman Legends when that stopped being a Wii U exclusive. So I'm glad to see that they are willing to put themselves back out there again. I'm sure, assuming that they get the requisite player base. Also, I like Karen. Good meme. The Karen, antisocial Karen. The girl who takes the
I don't do memes.
Yeah, it's the girl who takes the Switch out to the party with her friends who are clearly drinking on a rooftop and don't want to have anything to do.
Oh, you mean like the guys? That have a big basketball court right there with all their friends right there and the ball right there, and they go play NBA 2K whatever on the Switch.
Right.
That sounds smart.
Yeah. All right. So the negatives. I think while I do like some of the features.
Wait, that's it?
But yeah, those are my pros. I don't have a huge expansive list of pros. Because a lot of it's a mystery. In the middle section, we have that price, battery, graphics, power triangle, which we don't know the answer to, but most certainly isn't going to please anyone. But on the con side, they have those baby controllers, the ones on the Switch, and you can branch out and play it with friends. I don't necessarily like that. I don't think it's going to be a great idea. I don't think that developers are going to like creating for that. I think that is going to be... What are you doing?
I'm playing with the Switch.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That is how small... It is... It's kind of ridiculous that they're expecting anyone to play on that, if I'm being frank. And... Yeah, especially I think they were showing NBA 2K. I do not want to play on something with 4 buttons. Also,
would be awesome if you could play, if they had actually motion inside of those, and you could play Mario Kart with them.
Right. I think that's what they were showing off, and I think that's ridiculous. I think they were. Remember, they were in the van and they put it in the holder and they were playing it on a road trip. Don't think that's a good idea. They didn't like creating. When developers were creating for the Wii U, it didn't sound like they were too enthusiastic about finding touchscreen stuff or stuff to put on the lower
It didn't
screen.
seem to have a touchscreen at all. I didn't see any touching done.
Yeah. Well, it certainly wasn't confirmed, and they weren't willing to confirm it, so we may not know. I think besides that, I think the price isn't going to be there. I think that they're messing up the marketing a little bit. I'm not too concerned about them going full steam January until March. I think that they've been able to kind of break the internet more or less with their huge information drops all at once and then nothing at all.
Huge.
Oh, huge. 3 minutes. So I guess not huge in any respect. But I think otherwise their marketing's been a little off. The PR department told people, don't expect the games to play like that, which they didn't clarify, and people have taken the wrong way. It can, it's very vague. I think what they just meant was that the video was added in editing, in post-production, which is obvious. That's how they do
They
all
probably
these.
meant that that's a Wii U game, and you're seeing it on Switch because they're probably going to look the same.
I don't think they'll look similar. I'm sure it's cross-gen.
I think they look very, very similar. Honestly, I have a fear. That's my big fear, that it's going to be a Wii U that you can bring out because the processor isn't that much. From the rumors, the processor is not much more powerful than a Wii U.
Right. Oh, you know what? I do have more pros. Sorry, I forgot about them. I like that they showed off some of the games. Bethesda support's very big. I think did we see From Software? Yes, we did.
Yeah. We didn't see them. We saw the name.
We saw the name. I think that's a huge gift for them. Just even early commitments with nothing else there yet.
It's never gonna be Dark Souls, right?
Oh, I'm positive it's never gonna be Dark Souls, but I still
it's probably gonna
be
be Armored Core the day the night they say they're doing what they are.
Right. You personally know that. And
and everyone else that was in that room.
As I mentioned before, I like the fact that it's becoming, at least if they don't continue to create games for 3DS, and we have no indication that they're going to. I mean, they should. They have a huge base for it. We have no indication they're going to continue with 3DS games because we have very few confirmed titles going forward. That, of course, has been their strategy, but we might instead get this unified system where we're getting Nintendo solely developing on one console, which is great because we have constantly had Nintendo droughts. This will make Nintendo droughts feel less awful, and it also means that we might get a Pokemon home console game.
It's still gonna look like a portable, but meh.
Yeah, it'll be a hybrid of sorts.
Actually, no, we won't.
No?
No, we will. They will still make it for 3DS because probably if you even mention a Pokemon game, an actual Pokemon game on home console, someone at Nintendo dies like instantly.
Or at least someone at Game
Freak.
Yeah,
it's like the fairies. When you swear a fairy died, and when you say that the Pokemon is gonna be on home console, someone at Nintendo dies instantly. Like,
right. So yeah, those are for the most part my pros and cons. I don't have a ton of cons yet, but that's because we don't have a ton of details yet. I think that my cons list is going to grow. My pros list also will likely grow when we get a little closer, when we start learning launch lineup. When we actually know what games are coming. I'm sure I will at least like one or two of them. Hopefully they've learned their lesson from 3DS and Wii U, where launch lineup is important. They have to know that. All right, so I got a few questions that we can discuss before you rip this into shreds. All right, the questions are, for you personally, what do you think is going to be the winning number, price-wise and maybe battery life-wise?
Battery life, I don't see it being successful with less than 4 hours.
Okay.
Because 4 hours, like a short plane trip, like really, or like okay, if you're thinking about something that you're gonna use during your commuting, which I also forgot to talk about the big con.
Right.
It's way too big.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's something okay. It's something that is okay for certain things. Like if you go on the plane and you have your little table in front of you, so you can put it on the table, and that's fine. But think of yourself in the subway with that thing. Would
yeah.
you ever?
Would I personally? No, I would not. But
No way.
I hardly bring my PlayStation Vita into the subway. Uh,
But you could.
I could
You
conceivably.
wouldn't look like a fool.
Right. That's true, but I'm not a
I,
person who necessarily plays on the go either. I don't know
yeah,
what
but
some of these people are thinking.
okay. I am, and I know a lot of people that are, and that they gave me the same comment. That's too big to be comfortably played on a crowded train.
Hmm.
That's on a crowded train you can play a smartphone game. You can play a 3DS comfortably. You can play a Vita almost comfortably, but the Vita is bad controls anyway, like the old thing, grubby hands.
Yep.
But in any case, the Vita is still quite playable on the go like that. But that thing is big for a commuting, for a commute. That's not something I see good for the commute. Like honestly, I see the Switch failing badly in Japan because in
Hmm.
Japan they like their miniaturization. Size for them is a big thing.
They could just get that instead of a TV, though. I mean, it's perfect.
No, I mean on the go.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Uh, like for in Japan, the Vita started selling when they made it like a lot thinner.
Right.
Before it was the first Vita was considered too big and heavy for commuting. And so I don't see people playing that on the go. It's of course some will. You see people with tablets on the go, but think about it. How many people with tablets you see around on the subway? Not many. So that's a little big, and that's my problem. So that's already puts it a little outside the real of what is that what people are going to perceive it at. But anyway,
Hmm.
pricing maximum $200.
Maximum
That's what
200. That is very, very low.
you're talking about. Sweet spot.
I am talking about like the dream
The perfect.
spot that
Yeah,
they could
the
hit.
perfect. $200, I see that as becoming a successful console, a very successful console either. If it's more than $200, it's going to be hard because people are going to compare it to the 3DS,
Yeah.
and they're gonna say, "I have a 3DS, or I can buy a 3DS for 199. Is 199?
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's 199, or a little less, 149. But people are gonna say, "I can buy a portable for 199. Why would I buy another portable for 299?"
Hmm.
If it's 249, it's going to be hindered. It's a 299, no go.
Right.
No, not really. Battery life, I say 4 hours. 4 hours because that's a console, the portability of which it's more for long trips.
Yes.
It's not a commuter console. It's
No.
not. So you can't say, oh yeah, 2 hours is good because I'm just commuting from home to the office, and that's good for that.
Right.
And you say battery price. What was the other thing?
Oh, those were the only two: battery and price.
Yeah,
For
that's it. 4 hours and $200 is my sweet spot.
in the
I
comments.
don't think it's realistic. Sorry, I don't think it's realistic.
No.
I'm just saying that's what it would be needed for it to be very successful for me.
Right. In the comments, we have 0x1. It says it looks like a Nexus 7 with controllers. That's
Yeah, let's
true.
hope it doesn't explode.
That also plays to another pro of mine, which kind of fits into one of my other pros, is that it doesn't look like a Fisher Price or Hasbro kitty toy anymore. I like that fact. I still don't know how it's going to feel in your hand, which makes a big difference, but hopefully it's a nice solid console and feels like technology. It doesn't feel like something I'd want to give to a 3-year-old. Uh,
It looks good. It doesn't look like a toy. That's one of my con. Oh, sorry, one of my pros. It doesn't look like a toy, so that's a good thing.
yeah. Personally, for me, I think that the sweet spot would either be, uh, I'm going to say between 200 and 250. I
Mm-hmm.
think that it'll be easily sellable. Maybe even more
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I think they could not that they probably want to, but they could separate the base console
The base.
the base and the portable off, so they could sell them separate and kind of divide that cost. I would have preferred that they sold it at a loss. I'm a little disappointed to hear that they're not planning on doing that, but they are listening to.
They're a Kyoto company.
Yeah,
They are based Nintendo. The problem that Nintendo has, which is the basic problem they have,
yeah,
is that they're based on a very traditional ironclad, steel-clad corporate structure. Selling as a loss is not an option.
yes, and that's
Like even Sony has problems with that, and Sony is based on a much more modern corporate structure with a lot of Western influence in it.
right.
That's something that even Sony has problems with doing, and Nintendo want. They just want, because they think our product is solid and people will buy it. That's their standpoint. We will bring our product to the point in which they will buy it, but they don't. But that's their standpoint.
As for battery, I think it has to be either 4, like you said, or somewhere between 2 and 3 hours with the option to upgrade the battery. And I think if they want to position themselves as the first console that you could actually go in there and upgrade this kind of thing, I guess that's not necessarily true. PS4 and Xbox One, you go in and change the hard drive. But if that's where they want to save some cost, I'm fine with buying a larger battery. I've done it with my gamepad, for instance. And it's
Charger's gonna be bigger and heavier though.
Yeah, I mean it definitely could. That's
it's gonna add to that bulk already.
Right, but if we're talking to people who want to be able to play for long stretches, they might be willing to make that compromise, possibly.
Okay.
And it's worked at least with the hardcore Wii U fan base. Very small fan base, but they've seemed to enjoy it. I think it's all about making it a very easy thing, and it's easy enough to make the concept of Switch apply to moddable console. So yeah, you already touched on the other question I was going to ask. I was going to ask, how do you think it's going to do with Japan?
Badly. Well, okay. It's possibly gonna do better with the home crowd if they manage somehow to. Well, it's going to sell. Of course, Mario is going to sell. Zelda is not very popular in Japan, so yeah, it's going to sell, but it's not going to sell wonders. Depends how many popular IP they revive. Let's say I can say that it's going to sell almost exclusively on the Nintendo first parties in Japan, because I can't honestly. They're probably going to get quite a bit of third party stuff. Like they're definitely gonna get some Dragon Quest and stuff like that. But that's gonna come on PS4 as well. And I honestly don't see people making the switch. Like if people want Dragon Quest on the go, they're gonna get the 3DS version. The home version, I can't see people deciding to get it on the Switch. They're probably gonna get it on PS4 for the because it will probably look better. If the rumors about the specs are true. Other than that, it's very much a thing that Japan is probably going to give them support, like third parties,
right,
at least for a while, if the console doesn't crash. But all those games are still going to be on PS4 and on Vita, and I don't see people making the switch.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. People are gonna want a portable version, gonna get a Vita version. People are gonna want they're not gonna be console sellers. Okay, people may buy them, but they're not gonna be console sellers because they are on other platforms. Right. But yeah, I don't see it making a big splash in Japan. I may be wrong, but Japanese gamers have been very disillusioned for Nintendo home consoles, so they're going to look it exclusively as a portable. Like they're not even gonna think about it as a home console.
Right.
Like the Wii completely burned the Nintendo for home consoles in Japan.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I don't think, unless they position it correctly, unless they have the proper Japanese studio support, I don't think they're going to do well in Japan. It also depends on their pricing model. I don't know what that's going to be.
No.
Do you think we're going to get Metroid? Do you think that'll be part of the
Metroid.
announcement?
I think Nintendo simply discarded Metroid for some reason by now.
I wouldn't be
I have a
surprised.
feeling, personally, I have a feeling that Metroid, for some reason, someone at Nintendo started to think it doesn't fit Nintendo, like Nintendo as a brand or something, because it's been abandoned for too much time. They tried to change it into something else.
Chibified.
Yeah, like I don't know why. I don't know why, but the only thing I can imagine is that someone at Nintendo like thinks that Metroid is an IP that doesn't fit them. So they
Azario.
tried to change it to something else.
Azario says Federation Force 2, please.
Yeah, sure. I don't. I think I think there is some stopgap there. I would love to see a new Metroid. But
I think that they've been holding on to it personally. I think they're going to announce some really shitty specs or some really shitty price, and then that's going to be the thing they announce to try and smooth things over. In a teaser trailer.
Singapore would do. I mean, Metroid is not a popular franchise. It's a popular franchise between those people that will already buy the Switch.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're hardcore Nintendo fans. So that's not a tactic that works, and I don't see anyone thinking that it would work. Because hardcore Nintendo fans are gonna buy it. There is that those are in the bag. Like the Nintendo fans would buy Nintendo stuff even if they just sold you a card game made of actual Hanafuda cards, like the ones that they made at the beginning. So those are in the bag, but those are the ones that would be enthusiastic about seeing a Metroid, because Nintendo has squandered the Metroid franchise with the general public. The general public nowadays doesn't know what Metroid is.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, online space. Do you think that they will revamp their online market? Of course, they have been unifying.
They already
stuff.
have been, but honestly, I don't know. Maybe.
And do you think we might get a subscription model?
That's a thing that they could say we don't pay for online, but I don't see anything. I don't know. I don't know. That's a big incognito. So that could have a little bit of an effect if you say, oh, you don't need to pay for online. That would be nice for some people, but I don't know how much of an effect it could have. I honestly don't know. I really don't know anything on this one.
Yeah, I
can't even start to guess.
Right. If I couldn't make a guess, I could give a recommendation. I think that some people wouldn't mind paying. Of course, not the $60 a year. That's a little ridiculous for Nintendo Online. But I think that subscription services couldn't be out of the range of possibility if they wanted to offer a Nintendo exclusive kind of thing. For instance, they might not do the 2 free games a month. They might do, a permanent. They might do full range of the virtual console for free for anyone who is in the online service. Most Nintendo fans are somewhat interested in that, especially if it lets them play N64 games or possibly GameCube games, seeing how Switch can running on the NVIDIA.
You really think Nintendo's gonna give up that source of revenue?
No, I don't think that's probable in the least bit. I think that it's in the realm. I think it's in the realm of smart business decisions they could make, which they likely would never do because they are.
Okay. at least you admit it. Okay.
Yeah. No.
So, any other questions?
I've long given up on Nintendo making practical business decisions that will resonate in consumer markets. Anyway. I don't think I have any burning questions. We do have an 8-bit idiot again. Of course.
Okay, yeah, but you should probably do the giveaway before.
Right. So who's in here? Let me...
Okay, if you want a copy of Viva Ex Vivo by True and Pixel, just say I want a copy in the chat, and if you want the US or European code.
Yes, and we will give it to you. Meanwhile, if you're listening to this on the podcast... through whatever podcast streaming service you have, or YouTube, or you're on the DualShockers page, just leave it in the comments. We have a lot of copies of that game. And this is Viva Ex Vivo for PlayStation 4 / PlayStation VR. So 2 for 1. For Shu, let's see if we can give a copy away. Who do we have viewing? We have a few people. Though a lot of these people. All right, we'll see. I think it's !winner. Is that right?
Yeah.
Dalo. We know he can't do that. He already has the game.
You already have it.
I learn from week to week. Azaria.
Sorry, you win nothing because you're an employee. Sorry. Go ahead.
You get review copies of games. It equals out. All right, we're just gonna keep doing this until we can find out who wins.
Okay.
Meanwhile, let's launch into the 8-Bit Idiot. We brought it back last week, so I'll give a small description of what it is for those.
Please kick Azaria.
Yeah, fuck. God damn it. For those who don't know, 8-Bit Idiot's a segment that we started with and kind of comes back occasionally. We like to highlight every once in a while someone says something very, very dumb in the market, or in the industry in general. Whether it's a developer, a publisher, a games critic, everyone has their bad days that elicit some bad reactions, and we like to focus on them and just talk about it for a little bit, at least from our perspective. This week,
Okay.
Giuseppe is the one who tracked it down. Go for it.
Well, that was really easy, actually. So it happened yesterday. So what happened is that John Hardin, the marketing manager of Atlas, was talking about the hubbub about the review copies from Bethesda of Skyrim and Dishonored 2 that are being sent only one day in advance to reviewers. Which we will talk about a little bit about later, since we have Lou here, which is the review editor. But this is not part of the 8-Bit Idiot. It was, and he said, "Let me tell you, while Persona 5 is a special case, us and other niche publishers are facing an increasingly difficult time for reviews, because of course it's difficult for niche games, especially Japanese niche games, to find sites that will review them, especially big sites. Big sites are very much ignoring them." And we get a response from Jason Wilson, who is the managing editor of The Verge. It says, "Yes, I would love to review more Atlas games, but the traffic isn't toward the time we need to put into many." I was like, really?
Yeah.
Are you seriously deciding what you review from how much traffic it generates? Is that really a service you're giving to your readers? And the funny thing is that I called him on it. I simply responded that I had no words, and someone else responded to my tweets, and Wilson defended his position, saying, let me see if I can find it. There it is. If our audience wants more reviews of JRPGs, happy to provide more if I see that from our... sorry, I need to get... Our audience focuses on business and tech of gaming, not necessarily reviews. If our audience wants more reviews of JRPGs, happy to provide more if I see that from our audience. Well, I don't see Battlefield 1 or Titanfall or all the reviews of a Western AAA game they publish being tech or business. They are reviews of games. So our audience focuses on business and tech or gaming. That's already an excuse that doesn't work. And the fact that the audience, they want to hear it from the audience, that they want to see more JRPGs, that's something that always boggles me. People that think that the audience will be interested into something if they don't talk about that something.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, those sites and many other sites that are big sites have been sweeping under the JRPGs and Japanese games in general, besides the very big ones like Final Fantasy 15 or Persona 5, under the rug for years, since the PS3 year.
Right.
How can you expect the audience to even think about them if you ignore them? That's mind-boggling for me. That's completely out of the realm of possibility. So for me, it's actually a breach of ethics. You are ignoring games, the production, almost the whole production of a country because it doesn't make enough traffic. That's bonkers.
Sad.
It's a breach of ethics. It's a breach of the the trust your readers they have in you for informing them. So I simply I can't even. Uh, Lou, you're a review editors. Tell me what you think.
All right, I'm gonna read off some of the reviews that we've done lately. Nurse Love Addiction, Yamawari Night Alone, Pirate Pop Plus. We are not necessarily, we've done World of Final Fantasy. We're doing Battlefield 1. We did Batman Return to Arkham, but we don't exist 100% to cover what the AAA market wants, what the major publishers want. We do a service to people who want to know more about smaller games that may not drive too many traffic or too much comment to the site. We know it's a service to the developers to help get their names out there. We know it's a service to the readers who couldn't find these reviews elsewhere. So yes, we get that time is valuable, but time is valuable to everyone. You got to give some of these smaller games, especially JRPGs, which a lot of love, a lot of heart is poured into that. So much time, in each game. You got to give them some love. You got to give news stories about them. You got to do reviews for them. You can't just ignore it. I think that is, like you said, a breach of ethics. I think it's a breach of ethics to the developers and the publishers. I think it's a breach of ethics to the readers as well, especially to the readers who you're leaving ill-informed of a huge swath of the industry. If you were to go and read, I don't want to pick a random, just any major.
Don't pick.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no need to pick.
any major, more major gaming news website, you might never know about a large variety of games that, may not be AAA, but may certainly be one of the top tier publishers or developers who are just getting kicked to the side because they aren't the Final Fantasy or they aren't the Call of Duty. That's really what my main issue is.
Yeah, the problem is like we have a relatively small team compared to, of course, many sites that have a lot of more money than we do, so they can afford to hire more people than we have. So we cannot review everything because time is time. We don't simply have the staff to do it. But I'm pretty sure you can tell me this as well. You can confirm this. If any of our reviewers come to me and tells me I want to review this small indie game that doesn't have that will probably not generate any traffic at all or almost nothing, I would never tell him no, you can't. You have to review these other big games instead, or you have to focus on these other big thing instead. I will just tell him who is publishing it so I can ask your review copy.
Exactly.
Like right now. Like there is really not even. There are many factors that decide what we review and what we don't, but the popularity of a game is absolutely not and will never be one of those factors, and should never be one of those factors. That's my standpoint, and I'm sure you can mirror it, Lou, because we are pretty much the two that choose what gets reviews and by whom.
Right.
So it's absolutely bonkers for me to not cover, but we're not just talking about reviews, because we're not just talking about reviews here. We're talking about news. Like, I'll give you an example. Find me a piece of news today. For instance, they published the first screenshot of the new Neptune games. Find me how many actual big site covered that. One,
Right.
two, no one, or I don't know, but even just they shown a big chunk of Nier Automata gameplay. That's already a pretty big game, but how many sites covered that?
Right.
Like big sites, not many. And Nier Automata is a big games with a big publisher behind, Square Enix, with Platinum Games working on it. It's a famous director. So, but still, it will pass because it's Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
That's I don't even
Right.
honestly I don't.
To give people a little look behind the curtain, at DualShockers we have 9 reviewing staff writers. We
Mhm.
probably push out 20 or 30 reviews every month, and every week we, as a game site, we do get a lot of cold calls from developers and publishers asking us to review games. While I'm sure a lot of major developers and publishers simply just ignore a lot of these emails, we give them all out to the entire staff. Every small iOS game, every PC game, every small Steam game, and we let them see what they would like to do. And a lot of times we don't necessarily pick all of the largest games. We do a lot of small titles that just seem interesting and that we think may interest our audience. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly.
Right, but
Yeah,
that
but
that is the
it's
surface.
our duty as gaming writers is to inform our readers. It's not to make traffic. That's our job, to make traffic. But we also have a duty to inform you guys and in what is out there. Like
Right.
out there, there is Call of Duty, there is Battlefield 1, there is Titanfall 2, there is Civilization 6. Even Civilization 6 that's even slightly on the niche has been ignored, but it's not even Japanese games. Just look at how many sites, like for instance, completely ignore Paragon.
Yeah.
Like Paragon, sorry, not Paragon, Paradox, and
Yep.
it's like all its
Both.
strategy games. Like even niche genres are ignored, and personally, it pains me. uh, I would like to write more. The only limit it's what it's like the physical time, but like I write about Western games, Japanese games, doesn't matter, whatever genre, whatever, even things I don't like.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen plenty of Nintendo news coming from Giuseppe.
uh,
um, but yeah, so
no,
that
there are games I don't care for, and I will still write about them, and I will because I honestly personally don't care about the new Resident Evil at all.
yeah,
Because I don't like horror. I mean, I don't write pure horror. I like the old Resident Evil because it was horror,
suspense.
survival, shooter thingies.
Right.
Yes, but this thing it's like pure gore, splatter, gross horror. That's not my genre. I'm sure it will be a good game, but it's not my genre. I still write about it.
Right.
I write about tons of things, but and that's what we tell our writers to do. Write about the news that you think our readers will be interested in, and even if they're not, write about the things that happen, because if if you are not interested in this game, but maybe you read about it, you may become interested about it because maybe you just didn't know about it. How many people like don't know anything about the Yakuza series, for instance? Sure, in our site you know about them because because we write about them a lot. But people that don't read our site, don't read like niche, smaller sites like ours. They may read about it when they start coming west, but not maybe they read nothing about Yakuza 6, for instance.
Right.
They don't know that there is a big game that's coming. So yeah, for me, it's really a matter of our duty is informing our readers. And our duty is not informing our readers only about the things that will make traffic for us. That's not journalism. Our duty is to inform our readers. I don't even call myself like a journalist, but our duty still is to inform our readers about everything that happens as much as possible, at least. Everything is impossible.
Absolutely.
Like, there is no way because we don't have that big of a staff, but we will do as much as possible and cover as much variety as possible. No matter if it's like I write a ton of articles on small things that don't even get one comment
Right.
because there's people don't care. But I try to make them. I try to at least I serve them with the info, and if they don't care, that's fine. But maybe someone is going to appreciate, and that's my duty. That's what I care to do. That's what I like to do. And if it didn't make traffic, that's fine. Something else will do. We have so much of a variety of content on DualShockers that uh, that will that if if the article on since Quasimon said on the Witch and the Hundred Knights 2 doesn't get any traffic, well, that's fine. Something else will, right?
Right. Yeah. So at times we may not have the same wide appeal as maybe the IGNs out there, but we do cater to an audience of very core gamers that want to know as much about the industry and as much about what's going on in the industry as possible, not just what's going to be the major headline for the day.
Exactly.
All right.
I mean,
So.
we do cover the major headlines.
Oh yeah, of course we
Those
do.
are thing. It happens. It's thing that happens, so it's good to cover, and I'm sure there is a lot of people that are interested in that. But we may even prioritize. Like if a big news about the new Call of Duty comes out, I may drop whatever I'm writing and write about Call of Duty. That's fine. But as soon as the Call of Duty article is finished, I'm gonna go back writing about Berserk or Knights of Azure 2 or I don't know, something else that's small like that, because that's what's fun for me.
Right. Okay. So.
Like I don't think we even think in a business perspective, honestly. Maybe that's why we're not big.
No,
But
I mean a lot of people are doing this. A lot of the DualShockers writers, of course, we do have full-time staff, but a lot of people do it as their second time. This is what we enjoy doing. We love writing. We love talking to people who like to read our writing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we will cover whatever we like, honestly, and whatever we hope that our writers we like. And even if they don't, that's fine. That we put it out there. We gave you the cake. But if you don't like that kind of cake, that's fine. The cake is maybe we'll eat them ourselves.
Right. All right. So let's finish up with upcoming games, and then we'll go into the social media plugs. So this week, upcoming games, starting today, we have Blast Brawl 2, Bloody Boogaloo on PC and Xbox One. We have Clockwork Empires on PC. Tomorrow we have Weeping Doll for PS4 and PSVR. Following that, everyone's going to play it, I assume, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Also on the 28th, Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence, Ascension for PC and PS4. Carnival
You
Games.
suck.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
Nobunaga's Ambition. No, Nobunaga.
Okay, all right. Carnival Games VR for PC, PS4, and PC, PS4, and PSVR, and Titanfall 2 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. On the 1st of November, we got Steins Gate Zero for Vita. Is that
You
confirmed?
get that one. It's great.
Is that confirmed? I
have
it
no
on
idea.
Here. All right, maybe that might not be right. I remember they were moving the date around a bit. Owlboy for PC, Super Dungeon Bros for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, Steam World Collection for PS4 and Wii U, and Root Letter for PS4 Vita. Expect to see that one, that review go up.
That's good. We have a pretty nice week ahead.
Yeah,
Maybe not the enormous one, but pretty nice.
No, but I think there's definitely a lot of games for like everyone. I mean, depending on what you're interested in. All right.
Even if you like the niche, the horrible niche game that no one should cover, because they're not worth your time.
Oh, Owlboy, those huge AAA titles, which we are going to review Owlboy if the developer gets back to us. Social media and site plugs. If you're looking for us, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram just by looking up DualShockers. If you're looking for us on YouTube, it's a little different, DSTV Originals. Meanwhile, to come watch and be part of the show, join us every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We only last an hour, so we don't take up a lot of your time, and normally we do giveaways. Just go to twitch.tv/DualShockers Live. Finally, you can find our round-the-clock news coverage, reviews, features, and editorials of big games and niche games over at DualShockers.com.
And niche games.
Yes. And yeah, that's everything. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Giuseppe for being along with your beautiful, clean-shaven face.
Yeah, that's very clean. Stop saying that. Look at you. You have a beard. You haven't shaved in 20 years.
That's the corporate structure in America. Is if you want to look like a professional, you need a beard now. I don't get it.
Really? Is that real? Like, is that actually a thing?
If you have a baby face, then yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, so have fun, everyone. See you next week. Enjoy your Halloween. Play some great games. Let's launch straight into the music.
Play some niche games.
Yes.
Episode 3.